Today I'm in Arlington Heights at the law firm of Drost, Kivlahan, McMahon, and O'Connor, discussing real estate property taxes with Michael Korus. Today we are at the law firm of Drost, Kivlahan, McMahon, and O'Connor in Arlington Heights with Michael Korus, attorney at law. We're going to be discussing real estate property taxes. Michael, how are you?
I'm well, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure, and thank you for taking the time. I know you have a busy schedule for discussing this really important topic. Now let's get right down into it. Yeah, Michael, what does an assessed value mean for property taxes?
Well, the Cook County's assessor's office, their job is to assess property taxes. That's what they do. And they go and they actually assign a value to your property. This value, the assessed value, is the basis of your property tax bill.
Okay. Now, one thing we want to mention that today we're going to be discussing Cook County. In Cook County, how often does a property in Cook County get assessed, Michael?
Great question. Every 3 years. Automatically, whether you've pulled permits, you've done work on the house, you've sold it, or if you haven't touched it at all, every 3 years the Cook County Assessor's Office reevaluates each property, residential and commercial properties.
And so we're in 2019 in Cook County.
That's correct. So in the northwest suburbs, they go on a kind of, they split the county up into three sort of segments. In the northwest suburbs, which is where we are, Arlington Heights,
yes.
2019 marks the beginning of a new reassessment year, which means if you haven't already, you will be getting a notice of reassessment in the mail sometime this summer.
So this segment here is extremely important for homeowners in the Cook County.
That's right, especially people in the northwest suburbs.
Excellent, excellent. So someone has purchased a property, Michael, and they have seen that what the tax bill is, maybe a year, maybe 2 years down the road, and they feel that their property taxes at this point are higher than perhaps their neighbors' property taxes. Is there an appeal process?
Yes, great question. So you're going to get that notice of reassessment in the mail. Okay, now that will either have already come to you for those of you that might be living in the Elk Grove Township, but if you're living in Wheeling, Schaumburg, Palatine, those townships have not been reassessed yet. Those will be coming out later in July.
Yes.
So you'll get that notice in the mail, and it's going to say, hey, your property has a new assessed value. You'll have 30 days from the date of that mailing to appeal at the Cook County Assessor's Office. If you live in Elk Grove, or maybe you're on vacation, for whatever reason you missed that first deadline, you still have a chance to appeal at the Cook County Board of Review,
okay, which
will release those appeal dates a little later this year.
Okay. And DKMO, the law firm of DKMO, how does it appeal? It appeals those property taxes. What is the process?
That's right. So what we'll do is we take your property,
yes,
and we go through the database here, and we'll compare it through all comparable properties in the neighborhood, in the area.
Yes.
So like you said earlier, you mentioned if you think your property tax are higher than it should be compared
yes,
to your neighbors, what we do is we'll go through and we'll find the absolute best properties that are most similar to yours that have lower tax bills, and we'll submit that to the assessor's office saying, hey, there's a lack of uniformity here. This property should be taxed more in line with these other substantially similar properties.
Fantastic. Now, Michael, what are some of the causes of real estate property taxes to increase?
The two main factors that the Cook County Assessor's Office considers when they're looking at a property tax is the square footage and the exterior of the home. So some people, if you have, for example, a brick home, a masonry home, that's going to have a higher tax bill than a similarly square footaged home whose perhaps maybe has a wooden frame.
Okay.
So square footage and exterior are the two biggest factors.
Excellent, excellent. Michael, the other thing that I'd like to discuss are exemptions.
Great question.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I know there are several. The first one that comes to my mind is the homeowner exemption. Again, we're discussing Cook County. Yeah, and so who can get a homeowner exemption?
So the homeowner exemption is available to the homeowner's primary residential property that you lived in as of January 1st of that year. So you move in this summer to a new home that was previously perhaps rented out, so that exemption wasn't on the property that year.
Okay.
You would not be eligible to claim that property until January of 2020, because that would be the first day of January 1st that you lived in the home.
Okay. And so it's to obtain the homeowner exemption, the property has to be your primary.
That's correct.
residence.
So it's very common. Some people might have a primary home, but then they also have another rental property that they use as an investment. That exemption can only be applied to the homeowner, the taxpayer's residence, primary residence.
Now, for our senior community, there's also a senior exemption. What are the requirements that one has to have to be able to get that exemption?
The senior exemption is automatic to a senior who is over the age of 65. Again, that is to be applied on their primary residence.
Right.
So if that house qualified for the homeowner's exemption and you're over the age of 65 or older, as of January 1st, again, that is the big key there, you would be qualified to claim that homeowner's exemption on your property as well.
Now, if we can just go back 1 second to the homeowner exemption, how often does one have to file for the homeowner exemption?
Great question, Bill. The homeowner's exemption automatically reapplies after you've applied for that first year.
Okay.
Now, if it gets sold, it will fall off after the first sale. So you buy the property, it may have had it on there. You will have to apply as the new owner for that first year,
yes,
and then it'll reapply automatically. The senior's exemption, however, that does have to be applied for every year.
Every year. So the senior exemption is applied every year annually.
That's correct.
By the homeowner. Senior freeze exemption. What are the requirements to obtain that?
The senior freeze is the most valuable tax exemption available to taxpayers in Cook County. The senior freeze requires that as of January 1st, the homeowner was primary residence, 65 years or older, and combined household income was under $65,000.
Under $65,000.
Yes. So to apply for that exemption, you will have to provide copies of your prior year's tax income form to show proof that your household income was below the minimum threshold.
So, Michael, let me give you a scenario, if I may.
Sure.
Let's just say I purchased a home in 2016, and I never filed for a homeowner exemption. I realize now I can. Is there a way for me to go back those few years?
Absolutely. The Cook County Assessor's Office allows for homeowners to file what's called a certificate of error.
Yes.
So what you can do, you can go back up to at least 3 years to claim exemptions that you qualified for, but for whatever reason, didn't fill in the paperwork. So you'd file that certificate of error, and you'd be eligible for a tax refund, which is a check actually coming back to you from the assessor's office.
The law firm of DKMO can do that for you.
That's right. We can certainly help you fill those forms out.
And the appeal process can also be a difficult process, especially if you've never had to do an appeal.
Sure.
So, Michael, going back to the appeal process, if I want to appeal my property taxes, what do I do?
Well, you can contact me. You can send us an email at info@dkmolaw.com. Say, hey, I'm interested in appealing my property tax bill. We'll send you a couple of forms. We'll find out what your address is, what township are you located in, what's your PIN number, and we'll compare your property to the similar properties in your area. And if it looks like we've got a good chance of bringing that assessed value down, which will then result in a lower tax bill, we'll file an appeal on your behalf. Fantastic.
And there's one thing I really want to mention before we wrap up, and I really appreciate your time, Michael. Memorial Day, the law firm of DKMO in Arlington Heights really honored our veterans. They really did something really beautiful right in front of their law firm, right in front of the parade. They had a VIP section for our veterans who we honor very much, and there were refreshments, and they were really treated with an amazing respect. And so I really wanted to thank the law firm of DKMO for that. And that's only one of the things that the law firm of DKMO does in the community, but I thought that was really important to mention. So I really appreciate your time, Michael.
Appreciate it.
If you would like any more information, please contact the law firm of DKMO. And as always, today I'm in Arlington Heights, but tomorrow I may be in your neighborhood. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, have a blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Michael, thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.